Okay, I think we are live. Hello, good evening to everybody who's tuned into our page, Accountability Lab South Africa, and welcome to our third edition of our Meet the Icon series. This series is basically a chance for us, to continue to showcase our icons who are public servants who work in different areas of South African government and continue to do good work and do their work with integrity. So today we're going to be speaking to one of our icons from the Western Cape, Helimamy. But before then, I think we can just introduce ourselves again. My name is Siliziwe, and I work as a nonprofit management fellow at Accountability Lab South Africa.
Okay, my name is Farai. I also work at Accountability Lab as a nonprofit fellow.
Okay, so so now Helimamy, please introduce yourself. Tell us about a little bit about yourself. What exactly do you do?
Good afternoon. I'm Helimamy Moeng, and I work in the Western Cape Government Health as a pharmacist. And so I work in public sector mainly. I do administration rather than dispensing all the time.
Okay, that sounds great. I guess the next question would be, what motivated you to go into this line of work? So why specifically did you want to work in pharmacy?
So I think I wanted to work in health. It seemed to be cool. Oh, I can see all the background in my office. We are busy trying to move, so that's why there are boxes. Part of being a team in a healing process and in pharmacy, because I can't really deal with needles. Yeah. I need to sort out my office.
Your office looks fine, and we like the post in the back. Keep 1.5 meters away, so it's perfect.
Yes.
What would you say are the highlights of your job, Helimamy, then?
I think cooperating with people and achieving something, small things at a time. See patients comment, being happy with services that they get at the front line. And I think ultimately it's making sure that we achieve something as a team.
Yeah. I just want to go back a bit to speaking about being motivated to work in public health and in pharmacy. I know that there's, I guess, a special family, history with working in public service. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Both my parents are public servants, between brackets, they're teachers. Oh, and they taught at university, but they're teachers. So I think it motivated me to go into public sector.
Yes.
I think there's some idea of fairness and access to care.
Okay, so we have some people joining us. We have someone from Geneva. Hello, welcome to our live. And another person from Antananarivo. Sorry if I got that wrong, but thank you very much for joining us today. Okay, so I think we've spoken a bit about the highlights. Can you share about what the challenges are in your work?
I think in South Africa, like in other countries, the burden in healthcare in public sector is huge. And the means to render those services are really small compared to what we might have in private sector. And, so that is one issue. So the burden and the means to meet those the burden, and then the perceived inefficiency sometimes in public sector. Sometimes it's justified. And then I suppose you need some accountability for both healthcare provider and patients.
Yes.
In order to achieve something meaningful in health.
And what would you say mainly leads to that perceived inefficiency?
I think ultimately sometimes it's when you see a long line of patients in the morning,
Yeah.
you really need to have some strength in oneself. Already like despondent by the fact that you've got a huge line already in the morning when you arrive at work. Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like you obviously, you've spoken about your highlights, you've spoken about the challenges now, and it does seem like, you do work in difficult circumstances, especially in light of what we're going through right now globally. So I'm curious to find out what keeps you motivated, what makes you want to stay in public sector, what keeps you going?
I think, like I said previously, I think achieving something, even if they're small, little things. So, and seeing patients being happy. So right now we, as the Western Cape, we have undertaken to deliver some meds to patients' home. And sometimes they make comments and they're happy with the service. So, it's so rare. Sometimes it's very easy to send complaints, but sometimes it's very rare that you got compliments. So when people compliments and then they like agent for change for the other person in the community, so they'll advertise that there's some good service there. So I think that keeps me motivated, definitely. And I suppose colleagues as well, because we're not alone in the fight, and we're not alone in the front line, and you work as a team. So your colleagues also keeps you motivated.
Okay, so I think the next question then that I want to ask about is just moving towards Integrity Icon and how, you came to be part of Accountability Lab. How did you first hear about Integrity Icon after you were nominated? How has it impacted your life? And what was it like being told that you are one of the finalists or one of the icons for 2019?
So firstly, when I was nominated and when I got the call, I was like, impossible, or like, why would I be nominated? So I like trying to find out where does it come from, who was nominated, what organization is this? So I'm trying to wrap my head around it. And then they called me later to say you were shortlisted. Then I'm like, it is serious, so I need to look into it. Why was I nominated? And then that's it. And I think it was like a roller coaster, because at the beginning you're like, I'm sure there's hundreds of other public servants that deserve to be an integrity icon.
Yes.
And I surely did not, stop a R1 billion tender. So like, but yeah, so that was a roller coaster. And then when we arrived in Johannesburg, I think we were very fortunate to go to Constitution Hill and get a visit. And then you realize that ultimately you're a small cog, because there are many people who pay highest price for the freedom, and because they stand for integrity as well. So after that, it's harder, because now everybody says the integrity icon, so it's almost it keeps you on your toe, because you've got a yardstick to live up to.
Wow, I mean, I think you are doing very well under that yardstick. And also, you spoke about how there's all these public servants who deserve it, and you are one of those public servants who deserve to be uplifted and celebrated as an integrity icon.
Thank
you. So just narrowing our focus on that, you know, and just the public health sector as a whole. I mean, you've been identified as an integrity icon, and there are many, many, many other.
Everything okay?
The beauty of working from home or
working from home, live working from home. Okay, I think then I'll just take over for a second. So I think the question that I have is about, can you share how your experience has been right now through coronavirus? I know you spoke about a bit about delivering meds to your patients, but what has your experience been as someone in public health? Personal experiences in terms of, has this affected you in any way? And how it's affected the way you work as well?
I suppose it affects all of us, because all of us have been asked to at least do physical distancing. So that's why you've got this, keep one
yes
away from it. It affects us as me as a public servants in health sector, because I think we've been asked to work under difficult circumstances and
yes,
asked to lend a hand in spaces where sometimes we do not go into. So like I said previously, we provide support to sites to help for delivering medication to patients so that patients do not have to come to the facility. So that needed to happen quite quickly. So we needed to change. So changing how us as employees do things, and then change also patients so that mindset, so they don't have to come to the facility. So you know, operating with change sometimes can be difficult.
Yes.
But I think we're trying to take one step at a time, and if we can deliver it to 10 patients instead of having the patient come to the facility, it's already a success, between brackets. Yeah.
So just to get a bit more clarity about the particular facility that you work in, is it only providing medication, or is there I think is clinical the word aspect to it, or I'm not sure, the like contact with nurses and doctors, etc.?
So as a pharmacist, you work with a multidisciplinary team. So I don't work at
okay
all the time.
Okay.
The time when I do work at the facility, then yes. But in my office, I work with the nurses and doctor, and for instance, right now, to make sure that some of the patients who are in isolation get medication. So we arrange at least that they get their meds via the facility, but use tools, the tools that we have, the electronic tools that we have.
Okay. And then what I want to ask about is, in terms of COVID-19 right now, and especially as a health professional working in the Western Cape, where there seems to be quite a huge prevalence right now, what advice can you give to people in South Africa, people in the Western Cape, and just generally, seeing as we have someone from Geneva, from Zambia as well, who is tuning in? What advice would you give to people for right now, getting through this COVID-19 period?
I think ultimately the message that I've been saying to everybody, wash your hands for 20 seconds with water and soap. The 5 golden rules, you know, if you cough on your elbows, stay at home as much as possible. Make sure you've got clean surface and keep 1.5 meter away from everyone. And if you go out, wear your mask.
Yes.
And I think ultimately we must, for those who live in South Africa, I think we must use reputable source. So I know the Department of Health, the National Department of Health, WhatsApp line. So I'll give it as 0600 123 456. That's a very easy number. You can get the latest information and the correct information by using that.
That's some good advice over there. And I think we have one more comment from Liesel Meyer saying, watching you, Heli. So what I also wanted to ask is excuse me. Yeah. Okay. So with Integrity Icon, what was the kind of reaction from community and from co-workers and people around you? Do you feel like there was a change?
I'm still at work actually, so it seems some of my colleagues are going to come. So if you see them coming, don't be alarmed.
Okay.
I don't think that the attitude has changed. I think most of them say that it seems like integrity would make sense. And
yes,
I try to live with that value. Like I said, it can become difficult because it's a yardstick that you need to measure up to.
Yes.
But I think it doesn't change you fundamentally. It just makes you more aware when you do things.
Yes.
To that, or
I'm
trying to do something that is not such palatable. So yeah.
So it keeps you accountable, you'd say?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. And then I think, pardon? No, continue.
I think it makes it easier also when you interact with other people. If you have that in mind, they're like, maybe we'll go into a straight and narrow line.
Yes. So inspiring other people as well to work with integrity. Yeah. That's great. So I think the final question that I have is, what advice would you give to anybody who might be interested in studying pharmacy as a career path?
It's a great career if you want to work in health. It's a great career if you want to work with a multidisciplinary team. And you can make a difference in people's life, ultimately. I think, generally pharmacy is the last place you go into when you go into a facility, at least in public sector in South Africa. So you can make a difference in people's life, because after a long day and a long wait in a facility, they can sometimes be abrupt when they arrive at your place. So it's your turn to make the day, and how you interact with them will make the day or not.
Okay. Would you like to have any final remarks and comments about generally your work and the public service and Integrity Icon as a whole?
No, I think it would be great to get other public servants recognized, and
yes,
and to leave the integrity, the accountability and integrity values. I think ultimately there are many people who are worthy of being integrity icon in public sector. So I think we need to keep on nominating them and recognizing them.
Yes. Thank you so much. And as Helimamy was saying, we do need to carry on nominating more people. Our nominations for the 2020 Integrity Icon campaign are open. You can either nominate someone by going to integrityicon.org/South Africa, or you can WhatsApp us on 060-080-6146. And of course, all these details are on our Facebook page. So thank you very much, Helimamy, for giving us your time today. And thank you for everybody who's commented and has watched this live. Please go and keep the social distancing, keep the current public health guidelines as been given by one of our public health icons. And continue to nominate. If you think of anybody who's a public servant who works in health, who works in safety and security, in constitutional development, in education, we'd really, really like to hear from you. So thank you very much. Thank you, Helimamy. Bye. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye.